Hi, and welcome to Z Games. Recorded live at 4ZZZ Studios in Brisbane and broadcast nationally over the Community Radio Network, Z Games brings you the latest gaming news, reviews and interviews from across Australia and around the world.
Broadcast on 102.1 FM in Brisbane or on Z Digital. This is being produced live at 4ZZZ Studios, and you also might be listening to us on the Community Radio Network. This is Z Games, the best radio show in the history of everything ever. There is no argument against it. You can't make one. It's not possible. My name's Jack Punjanan.
Oh, wow. That's quite a rant you've gone on.
Yeah,
there,
it was.
You got angry halfway through that.
I went a little bit on the front foot. I will admit that. I've got some cold brew going through me right now.
That's cool. I'm enjoying it.
I'm a bit on edge.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I love every time you open the show, Jack.
I'm
because
glad.
It's flip of a coin, like,
I'm glad someone does.
Which side of the train's going to come off the rails?
Rest assured the train will come off the rails.
One of them will. Yeah. One side or the other. Anything could happen. Anyway, my name's Jack.
I'm Razor.
And I'm Lee.
There you go. And we've got an entire show on top of that amazing intro. Just when you thought it couldn't get any better, holy God, it goes for an entire hour. What am I doing?
Okay.
We've got news coming up very soon,
yes.
But we've also got a review of No Man's Sky next.
Yes,
re-review.
Right. Yeah. We're returning to No Man's Sky by Hello Games. Going back into space, but we'll get to that later. I think you've also got an interview for us.
I do have an interview for us. That is with the owner of a store down at Robina, Super Retro. It is a retro video game store. Typically, retro games is something you might find at a retro games market. Maybe cash converters, I guess. But
or the past, if you travel through time.
Yes, true. I mean, we are in Brisbane.
Yeah.
Or your grandfather's basement.
Yeah, sure. Wherever, man, wherever you can find them, between couch cushions sometimes. But this is an entire shop filled with retro games. Some newer stuff, but mostly retro games. So I'm going to be chatting to him a little bit later as well. But, oh man, news happened. What happened?
The planned Minecraft movie has received an unfortunate setback, according to movie news website The Wrap. McElhenney? Rob McElhenney?
Yes,
is that how you say it?
That's close enough.
Who plays Mac on the popular TV sitcom It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, has reportedly left the project and is being replaced by the writing/directing duo of Adam and Aaron Nee, who are also working on a reboot of Masters of the Universe. This leaves the film, originally expected in May 2019, without a release date.
I'm kind of more interested in this remake of the Masters of the Universe over the Minecraft one. I gotta say, characters that I can, latch on to. Like, the only character in Minecraft is like that sheep at the start. And
there's some like creepypasta stories about Minecraft, but
yeah,
Herobrine. Cool.
Yeah.
I've done Googling about Minecraft.
I was interested in the Minecraft movie solely because Mac was directing.
Yeah.
I knew that it would probably be a bit, subversive or weird. But without him, I've lost it. I don't care about the Minecraft film. It'll probably be a rip-off of the Lego movie
with bigger blocks.
Yeah, with bigger blocks and green ghouls and pickaxes and whatever the hell Minecraft has in it. But yeah, no Mac, no ticket for me.
Rough.
Yep.
Yeah.
A report by Kotaku has lifted the lid on an alleged sexist work culture at League of Legends developer Riot Games. The article's author spoke to 28 former and current female employees of the studio who experienced a culture of sexism and misogyny, which included people in management and leadership positions compiling and sharing lists of female employees they'd like to sleep with. As well as being sent photographs of genitalia among work-related messages, email chains that detailed fantasies, naming... My goodness, it's a long sentence, right? Email chains that detailed fantasies naming female co-workers and a female employee being refused a promotion after turning down the advances of her superior. The report also describes a bro culture where a senior employee would frequently grab his own genitalia and begin meetings by farting into the face of another staff member. A response from Riot Games said that the anecdotes in the article were explicitly opposite to its workplace culture. Quote, when we encounter any contrary behaviors, we dig in to understand, evaluate, and address. We have a zero-tolerance policy on discrimination, harassment, retaliation, bullying, and general toxicity, end quote. League of Legends is one of the world's most popular games with over 100 million active players. The company employs about 2,500 people.
It's a pretty damning report there. One of the interesting things about this that struck me was that some years back, League of Legends made a lot of noise about the fact that they were working to address the toxicity within the culture that they had created
in the player base.
In the player base,
yeah.
They went out of their way to try and address that and implement fair rules, things where you could actually deal with trolls and address that sort of thing. Seems like that wasn't. I mean, they had minor successes there, but obviously it's still a pretty nasty environment. Do you think because they weren't able to actually clean house that they were unlikely to be able to deal with that?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to comment on the inner workings of the company, but it seems now that those efforts to clean up the player base may have been less than genuine. Now that the inner workings of the company has been revealed and revealing an allegedly sexist workplace culture. And, some of the stuff that's described in the article is just horrible, like some of the things that you mentioned there, Jack. Farting into the faces of other employees. I mean, I wouldn't want to work in a place like that.
The one question that I have is, I guess, with respect to, like, you came across saying that some of the efforts they had in dealing with their community, because of this, seems less genuine. Do you not think that it might have been a matter of one department? Because if there's 2,500 people, that's a lot of people to employ.
Yeah.
That there might have been people at the organization genuinely trying to make a difference, because, like, League of Legends community has been known to be problematic for a while, and that it might just be difficult to mobilize 2,500 people. Like, I feel like that might be part of what's going on here, instead of just saying Riot Games is trash across the board. like I don't want to, without going into detail, in the Kotaku article, and it is rather long. If you want more information, I definitely recommend going into it, because the reporter goes into a lot of detail, but it might not necessarily just be the company trying to do positive PR. It might just be difficult to mobilize an entire company.
Oh yeah, no, it's huge. But
it doesn't make it excusable by any means.
Yes. I think it's more that there's a culture is created by the people that do the hiring, the people that maintain the leadership, and clearly things have gotten out of hand there. And I think that might have that might have undermined any attempt to also do that within their community itself, unfortunately. But yeah, it is a hugely damning. It's 8,000 words, and it's just some truly startling stuff. Farting in faces at the start of a meeting is actually one of the more benign things, actually.
Yeah.
Like, if that's all they had to deal with, you'd probably be able to isolate that. Just
you'd hope so.
You'd arrive late to a meeting. I don't know. Do everything through Slack. But it's troubling. Hopefully, it's something that they're going to actively address now that it's actually had a bit more of a spotlight shone on it. Yes. And in lighter news,
the pronunciation of the acronym for Nintendo Entertainment System has been in dispute for over 30 years, but the debate has seemingly been settled by Nintendo themselves. Americans prefer to formally spell out the letters NES, although here in Australia we tend to say it with a sibilant S. NES, as an example, while those hailing from Britain prefer to say NES. Twitter user Kyle McLean unearthed a screen found in the Japanese version of Wario Gold that contains the phonetic spelling of the word in Japanese that indicates NES is the correct pronunciation.
I kind of always knew that, in my heart of hearts.
Yeah, Australians were always correct.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. NES. It looks, there's no double S, but you wouldn't say NES.
You wouldn't say NES.
And spelling it out NES, that's troublesome.
It's too long.
Yeah.
It's 3 syllables instead of 1.
Exactly.
Yeah. I like it. It's clean. NES. Super NES.
No, see, I hate that. Super NES.
Super NES is like, how many syllables is that? 8?
That's insane.
Oh, why is it a problem?
No.
Why is this? Thank God for the lighter news.
I'm so glad that we've resolved this, and now we've always been right to say Super NES. But what about, is it a SNES then?
Well, it must be.
Yeah.
SNES. So Super NES, who says that? No one?
Yeah.
Do you say that, Jack?
Oh, no. Super NES is the worst. I think that's really dumb.
Okay.
Super NES, I think, is clean. NES, I think, is clean because it's an acronym.
Okay.
Okay? I think it's fine.
Right.
NES is fine. NES, I'll take. Super NES, Super Nintendo. I think I like Super Nintendo, actually. Super Nintendo, I think, is the nicest one.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Super NES is a joke. Get rid of it.
I might find myself saying that.
Super
I
NES.
think I have said it before.
Would you be mindful? Would you go out of your way to try and say it? Would
No.
you try and say Super NES?
Here's the thing, like, if you're going to be speaking about a conversation, it just comes out.
I think I'm going to adopt SNES, actually, and try and work into as many conversations with you as possible,
SNES
Jack.
is fine. SNES is a little sloppy, but like everyone gets a little bit sloppy sometimes, you know?
I see.
Yeah.
SNES is fine.
Yeah. How do you
Super
think?
Nintendo, I think, is the best way, but like obviously calling the original Nintendo just Nintendo is like...
As long as we all agree that you shouldn't say SNES at all.
I know.
Right.
You know, we had a guest from Britain on the show, and he said SNES, and everyone in the studio except for him recoiled.
Yeah.
It was
Blood
like,
all
what
over
the
the
hell?
walls, right?
Yeah. He's a very prominent YouTuber. He does sarcastic videos
Yeah.
with a British accent.
Who could that possibly be?
I don't know. Can't
Anyway.
name names.
Yeah. Still.
Yeah, but I'm really glad that we have that cleared up because, you know, as an audio medium,
Yeah.
every
important.
time we talk about the NES, which is quite frequently because we're all old nerds, it always trips us up for like a couple of minutes while we work out the pronunciation.
We agree that it's Mega Drive, right?
That's the worst. Mega Drive.
Good one.
with blast processing, new and improved. My God, that is the news of the week. Believe it or not, you're listening to Z Games. I'm Jack. I'm in studio with Ray and Lee. And earlier today, I visited a little place down in Robina. Bit of a drive from Brisbane, I will admit. But this is pretty cool place. If you're into collecting retro games, typically you're going to a market, you're going to like cash converters if you're unlucky. But Chris actually has an entire shop dedicated to this stuff. Chris, are you there?
I am. How are you?
Doing all right. So I guess for people that are unaware, what is Super Retro?
Super Retro, we're a retail outlet. We're situated at Robina Town Centre on the Gold Coast. And yeah, we just sell pretty much everything from the Atari right up through to current gen. We also refurbish. We do trades as well. So yeah, pretty much everything retro up to today.
And so I think Super Retro has been around for a few years. How did the business kind of get started? Did you buy a lot of this stuff at that point in time? Did you have big collections? Like what was your interest in retro gaming, I guess, before Super Retro happened?
Yep. Well, I was a big collector myself beforehand, and I just found that over the years it was getting harder and harder to find places that were actually doing this, and it was more sort of just private sellers online. Obviously, game traders and stuff started closing down across the country. So me and my business partner, we had quite a lot of stuff ourselves, and we opened the store. It was obviously a lot less stock than what we have now. Obviously, we built up a lot through trades, but we just pretty much all had doubles from our own collection. And yeah, just from day one, it just went off. So we obviously, there was a big market for this sort of stuff, and the trades just started pouring in. So now we've got to the size of the shop that you saw today when you came in. So it's
a pretty cool place, actually, because you've been sort of hopping around the Robina Town Centre for a while due to a bunch of like temporary licensing stuff and all the rest of that. But the collection of games and gaming equipment, gaming consoles, is just so comprehensive. It's really, really fascinating to see all of that in one place. I guess from your perspective, as someone who's there interacting with people that are interested in this kind of stuff, what are some of the quirks you found in providing that retro gaming goodness to people at Robina? Like, what were some of the surprises that you happened across when, like, in the time that you've had the store open, as far as the customers are concerned?
Yep, it was the biggest thing that we noticed really early on that we needed to put work into was actually the refurbishing of consoles. So obviously, a lot of like the early model disc reading systems, so like PS1, PS2, they start to have laser issues by now. You've got, before they flash save was implemented, so like saving like what's on a USB stick, the cartridges had a little save battery in them, like the Super NES and the Game Boy games. So obviously we learned that we had to be replacing all that sort of stuff. So the biggest stuff that was a surprise to us was just how much work is involved into actually getting this stuff to back to pretty much as new condition. So, but yeah, we pride ourselves on selling a quality product, so we're more than happy to spend the time refurbishing and testing and all that sort of stuff before we sell it on.
What sort of difficulty is there in trying to ensure that the save functionality on like a Mega Drive version of Davis Cup tennis is still actually functional these days?
Yep. So if it's it was about the 64 generation, so pretty much the last cartridge-based console, that's where they went to flash save. So like a USB stick, it'll always just save onto the card.
Yep.
But predating that was battery save. So obviously batteries die. But yeah, once you just replace the battery, it just solders onto the board itself. They're pretty much brand new again. So, and the batteries from today are obviously a lot better than they were in the 80s and 90s. So once we put a new battery in them, they should last another 20 years from today. So
of
brand new again.
Of the retro consoles that you've dealt with, which of them is the most sturdy? Like, which ones can you be assured? The Nintendo? Which any particular Nintendo? The Super Nintendo? Or?
Nintendo 64s. You'd have to try hard to kill one of them. Yeah. So Super NES's hold up really well as well, but Nintendo 64s, look, we've sold thousands. We've only had one that didn't work, and that was one that was actually under someone's house during the Brisbane flood, and it was underwater for about 4 days, and we couldn't bring that one back. But that's the only one we haven't been able to get working.
Yeah, how about those analog sticks, though? I mean...
Yeah, that's an issue. Yeah, so what we're doing to try and fix that at the moment, and we're finding... We've only recently started doing it within the last month, but customers are loving it. It's actually a GameCube stick mod that we're doing. So there's obviously some people that like the original stick. So we can put it's an aftermarket stick. It's as close as to the original as you'll get, but a lot of people are loving the GameCube sticks because you can play Mario Party and thrash the hell out of them, and they don't get sloppy.
Right. Yeah, I can imagine there's probably a lot of Smash Brothers players also that are seeking you out for that because they buy those sticks up in bulk.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, Smash Bros and Mario Party are killers for those controllers.
And so, like, a lot of the stuff that you're getting into the shop, I imagine, because it's a lot older, you're not getting that fresh off like an assembly line of sorts. It's for the most part traded in. What are some of the weird things that you've had traded into your store from customers?
Yeah, the weirdest thing we've had, we obviously couldn't accept it because it wasn't game related, but one guy brought in a PS3 console once. I opened the box, and there was a PS3 in there.
And I'll just put a language warning here as well, just a language warning, because I'm aware of what's coming here. What was in the box as well, Chris?
It was, I'll put it in the least profanity that I can. It was a penis pump. Yeah. So obviously we couldn't accept that. He didn't know that it was in there at the time, so he was pretty shocked when I told him that we don't accept trade-ins of penis pumps.
He said it wasn't his bag, baby.
Yeah, that pretty much. Was it you?
No, it wasn't me.
Oh, beautiful. So I guess as well, right now it's for the most part just in Robina.
Yep.
It's not do you just have mostly like customers or clients coming in from Robina specifically, or do you have coming from a little bit further out?
No, we've got we get a lot of people that come up here on holidays from Sydney, Melbourne, Perth, even New Zealand as well. That every time they come over, they make sure to pop into the store. We post to New Zealand and like I said, Sydney and Melbourne pretty regularly as well. But locally, probably the most areas that we get people to drive up is we have a few customers that come up from Coffs Harbour, and Brisbane. We get a lot of customers from Brisbane as well. But we are expanding. We will have a Brisbane store within a year, and then Sydney and Melbourne to follow after that. So we're very excited for that.
Cool. So if people are wanting to check out the store, I guess Robina Town Centre is the place to go. Do you have any online pages that people might be able to find you on?
We've got Facebook and Instagram at the moment. We are in the process of building an online website. We don't know. It won't have a shop to start with, but it'll basically be what we have in store and all that. But we do have plans to roll out an actual online store shortly after that. So hopefully within a year we'll be able to implement that. So all our interstate buyers will just be able to click and go from there. So
awesome, cool. Well, thank you so much for your time, Chris, telling us about Super Retro. I really, really appreciate it. I'll leave you to it. Thanks so much for your time.
Perfect, thank you.
Cheers. That was Chris there from Super Retro. Actually going to be talking a little bit more to that on a New Game Plus segment broadcast. If you're listening to this near Melbourne or Adelaide, it's going to be broadcast on C31 and C44. So if you want to see a little bit more of the shop visually, you can check it out on the New Game Plus segment. It's also going to be on YouTube. But yeah, interesting store for sure. I had a really good time there.
You're listening to Zed Games with me, Razor, the shining light that feeds all, and the two peasants that toil under my heat.
And I'm Jack white on coffee is what I am.
All right, but Lee,
yes,
hasn't said much this episode, but he's about to because he's been playing No Man's Sky next.
I have, yes. So No Man's Sky came out about 2 years ago after a significant marketing push from Sony to mixed reviews, mostly as a result of I think an untenable amount of increasing player expectation that was then sort of met with, oh yeah, I guess this is what they said they would do. It is a game about being in space and having all of space to do whatever you want in an infinitely generated space, and they delivered that, but they didn't really tell you what you should do or where the game was within that. So they have 2 years on and now released a great big patch to coincide with the Xbox launch of the game. I've been playing it on the original PlayStation 4, which is the flagship console for the thing.
And to clarify, this patches across all versions.
Yes, that's right. So it's also the PC version. Xbox launches with this. But some of the big features that they've added into the game of exploring infinite space is that there's now a sort of third-person camera as an option, which very much changes the feel of the things. There's a completely changed economy. There's much improvement has been done to the graphics and the generation of their randomly generated worlds. There's a whole new early game flow. There's a lot more the randomly generated mission content towards the end. There's more directed content, more video gamey things to do within a game that is still very much about being on a planet and being like, what is all of this? Where am I? Why is the sky pink? Why is the ground spongy? What is that thing over there with the 6 legs? And why is it on top of me? I played a little bit of the original version of the game about 6 months after it had come out to get a sense of what it really was once the hype had died down. I'd heard a lot of people talk about how it was a very calming, almost therapeutic game. You would just be in space enjoying space vistas, and then you would fly off when you needed to do so. And I got a sense of that, but I didn't really care too much about the grindy nature of it. And so getting into this meant that I didn't have terribly many preconceived notions about what No Man's Sky should be. And so I think my experience is pretty pure, and I
not
like
hazed
it.
by hype,
exactly, nor cynicism. It's
like cynicism generally, or cynicism about
it's in the DNA. I can't help it.
Yeah,
but overall, I think this is a really positive set of improvements. It really has reinvigorated the game, and I think that anyone who desperately wanted to enjoy it but couldn't quite figure out where the fun was the first time around, it's much, much more in your face this time. I do think that there are still a bunch of issues inherent in the design, and some that have kind of been stuffed in even further. So the game starts you off on generally a kind of hazardous planet. I had been hearing stories the week prior to me playing from people who are like, oh man, here's my luxurious ocean planet with these like gentle kangaroo friends. I'm having a really good time here. Space is wonderful. I started the game on a planet that was mostly made out of acid rain.
It's upsetting when you get a crappy planet.
Yeah.
Wait, is the acid rain planet bad or good?
This is bad.
Good, yes. Just double checking.
Yeah, I don't like acid rain. It's no good, Jack. No one enjoys acid rain.
That, or it just being a desert, or when it's radioactive.
Yeah. So I was acid rain planet. I was imperiled. My spaceship had crashed. I didn't know who I was. I had to work out how to get resources to get more resources to get more resources. It is a series of spinning wheels, essentially, to ensure that you can get the next spinning wheel. And for the most part, it camouflages that quite well. But there are points where, in the experience, you are told that you need to find some fuel to recharge your mining gun, so that then you'll have enough fuel to make more fuel to run your life support system, which will then allow you to go further to find the metal you need to make the fuel for your spaceship, so that you can then hop in your spaceship and take off and go into space to get more fuel for the different engine within your spaceship, so you can go to another planet where you can get the other resource for the super special fuel that will allow you to leave the solar system. It is fuels all the way down. And
how is this different from the original?
They all have different names now. Yeah. If you were found the grind of fuel to get fuel, tedious in the first game, and I really do. That's still there, unfortunately. But if you can look past that, and it is quite nice, so you just have to look around.
Just use your eyes.
Yeah, and you should be able to. They've padded the experience out a great deal in interesting ways as well. So they've gotten some really good writers to come in and provide a lot of extra narrative in the communication relays and things that you pick up in the game, in the conversations that you have with other aliens in space, in space shuttles and small bases that you find on planets. It does sort of feel like it has been pasted over the top of a game. It feels quite unrelated to suddenly go from this resource mining heavy game to then be in kind of a choose your own adventure dialogue with a grinning little turtle lizard man. But
they're weird NPCs, aren't they?
They're all very weird, yeah. But I think that there's an overarching narrative about mysterious signals that repeat the number 16 for some reason, that lead you across the solar system and beyond. And that stuff's really, really good. It's really compelling. So I really thought that was good. But it doesn't tell you at any point when you are getting off the tutorial train. Which I find quite disconcerting. So, I mean,
it just feels like it goes on forever.
Yeah, you are dragged around by a series of objectives in the corner of the screen, and excuse me, it ordinarily games will, particularly large ones like this, you'll be dragged by the nose for a little while, and then the game will open up and be like, now go and find your own things to do. Talk to that guy, talk to this guy. It never really feels like I never knew whether I'd finished the tutorial or not. And I still haven't, and I've been playing for hours and hours. So that is particularly strange and an odd pacing issue. But I guess it's because they have a lot of additional narrative content and they haven't worked out how they need to weight that at all. So that's odd. I think that's those are kind of the main beefs. Just that there's a lot of being led around by the nose by this tutorial system that is still just teaching you how to find the new fuel for the new thing. And that stuff is baked hard into the game. But, around that, all of the, the space travel, the space combat is now actually really fun. I accidentally shot some guys down because I thought I was told to go and find some pirates, and the spaceship flew by that had a very sinister name. It was called the Queen's Blade, and I was like, well, that's a pirate.
Yeah. Cool.
So I shot him down, and then I found out that the friendly robots that I'd been selling my stuff to didn't like me as much after that. So I think technically I'm a pirate now.
Yes.
Which I guess is cool. That's how you should become a pirate, accidentally.
I think that's commit to it.
Yeah, I'm going to lean into it from now on.
Definitely, yeah. In real life as well.
Yeah, sure. It also, it is very, very good at creating weird atmospheres now. Before it was here's a whimsical planet, here's a weird thing. Here, they've done some really cool, ominous alien-style stuff, right? Where if you go to, an otherwise dead world and find a space station on there, it's probably going to be covered in slime, and there's probably going to be weird eggs there. And I don't want to tell you not to look face first at the weird eggs.
I'm so concerned about the weird eggs now, Lee.
Yeah, look, I mean, what can I say? The weird eggs they're incredibly valuable, what's inside the weird egg. It's just that I don't know whether you really should risk going to a strange dead world and going to the only building on the entire planet that is full of slime and weird eggs, and then taking those eggs out of there. Probably a bad idea. I think.
Did you get killed?
I didn't get killed, but I was chased for a while.
Because I know how this works. You end up doing a thing. You're like, I'm just minding my own business. I'm just mining rocks. What are these? Why are there robots around? Why are they shooting at me? What's happening?
So here's the thing: the robots, they're annoying. They're fine. They're nothing to do with the weird eggs. Weird eggs.
Oh, that's even worse.
Yeah. Those. So there are basically the GTA cops that stop you from having too much fun when you're mining in No Man's Sky, right? Are just these flying Roombas with a camera that scan you.
That's all they are, yeah.
And
until you do a thing, and then they're cool, pew pew.
Yeah. Three of them turn up, and they're just really annoying. And I don't understand why the game doesn't want me to have fun. Sometimes, here's a planet covered in dilithium crystals. You want those, right? I guess.
And then you get shot.
Yeah, as soon as I start mining, this thing turns up and he's like, "Don't do that. Not on my planet."
Honestly.
Yeah. Annoying, and no fun to kill because it's just an orb. Who cares? There are dog ones that turn up if you kill enough of the orbs, but start with dogs and then go to even weirder ones.
If you want to combat my fun, do it with more fun.
Yeah. Don't send a box with a camera lens on it to shoot me every time I'm trying to engage with your resource management. This got weird and snarky, but overall, I still really, really enjoy this, and I think that it's an incredibly positive change. I should also add that they've added multiplayer that just works now into the game.
Nice.
Probably the most memorable experience that I had with it was while I was still trying to work out how the jetpack works without getting blasted by acid rain. I was just in the first few hours of whatever the tutorial thinks it is. A friend of mine who has been playing for about 18 months just blasted into the solar system I was in, landed on the planet in front of me, looked way cooler than I did, had an amazing ship, waved at me while I'm there melting from acid rain. Scanned a bunch of creatures that I probably should have scanned, got all those resources, and then just took off. What an amazing prank that is. I've been trolled across a galaxy.
Jesus. So, I guess that's a really good place place to end it. Where can people find No Man's Sky next? It is out on the 3 main ones?
Yes, it is on the PC. You can get it through Steam. You can get it. It is on GOG, but the multiplayer doesn't work, so they're offering refunds there.
Oh, okay.
It is on the PlayStation and on the Xbox as well.
Cool.
It is good. It's a dramatic change and one for the better. I think it's worth. If you want to go to space, this is the place.
Beautiful. That actually brings us to the end of the show. Thank you so much for that, Lee.
No worries.
We'll be back next week, same time, same place. We'll see you real soon.